Time for the playoffs! We are in the winner bracket of the playoffs. We have Brax's holdout in our first playoff series here at the Murky Cup. The Krankle crew is going up against the Cats right now. Best of 5, and it's gonna be good. So, once again, quick rundown. We had qualifiers that led us straight into the playoffs here. The participating teams currently are fighting for a prize pool of in total $2,000. Once again, as in all of our previous videos as well, big shout out to I Can't Wait, who actually made this tournament possible. So he's solely responsible for this actually being run in the first place. It's also a huge part of why we named this the Murky Cup, because he is a massive Murky fan. And if you looked at the bounties and the way that we're actually incentivizing people to play certain heroes, then you might have already picked up on the fact that Murky is even more incentivized than a lot of the other heroes. You get 3 tickets for the bounty pool if you win a game with Murky. And it's pretty epic. But if you're not really familiar with the tournament just now, so we have $2,000 in prize money in total for this. We have $1,000 to go straight to the top teams, as you would experience with any other tournament. But $1,000 go into the bounty pool, and then teams can go for bounties. I'm going to show them on screen again real quickly for you. If you complete any of these bounties, you get a ticket for the bounty pool. At the end of the tournament, we look at how many tickets were completed in total and also how many tickets were completed from each team, and then you get a share of that bounty pool of $1,000 according to how many bounties you completed in relation to the overall number. So this is really something where teams have to make a risk-reward calculation, where they have to figure out, hey, what is worth it for us? What can we get away with? And we've seen a lot actually in the qualifiers. Now, I personally think that now that we're in the playoffs, the number of bounties is probably going to be reduced a little bit, or the number of bounty attempts, because now teams, after they've qualified for the playoffs, are really going to fight very, very hard to win the tournament itself. So my assumption would be that bounty attempts are being a bit reduced, but I could see them come in more aggressively around game number 4, game number 5, because now we're actually looking at best of 5 matches all the way up to the grand final, which is a best of 7. So that changes things slightly, since we have a draft restriction in the tournament where every single hero that gets played cannot be played again in the same series. So as you progress from map number 1 to 2, 3, 4, and 5, the heroes that you see on a map cannot be played again. Creates a bit more hero diversity, and that makes it nice for the audience, but it also limits, of course, the hero pool as you progress through a match, and that makes certain heroes that are part of those bounties more attractive in the 4th and 5th game, simply because you've eliminated better choices that teams could normally go for here. And we're talking about Brax's holdout, 2-lane map, obviously. We got Sylvanas, we got Murden. Sylvanas really nice here. As you can already tell from what we're seeing on the side of the Cats, they've now chosen 2 heroes that can traverse terrain very easily. Murden can just simply jump over. Sylvanas uses the wave. Mobility normally between lanes is really important when you're playing here. Genji is a hero that gets played a lot. When we're talking supports, this is one of the maps where Karazim, for example, gets played more than on most other maps. I'm not saying he's going to be chosen here, but he is at least more popular on Braxis compared to others. Bit of a different approach from the Krankle crew right now. They're going for Jojo, which is of course very strong in maintaining lane control and getting AoE out to take those minions apart. Then we have Gul'dan for extra AoE. So they're not quite going for the mobility aspect that we oftentimes see with team compositions here that allow you to rotate from one lane to another and try to get beacon access. Anduin coming in Blaze, so Blaze on the side lane. So we have already a lot of stuns here with Murden, Stormbolt, Blaze, Jet Propulsion, just to set things up for the team. And now, of course, the big question, what the final 2 picks are for the Krankle crew. We still need a side laner for them. Haven't picked anything yet. Could go for Urel, Dehaka, Rexa, All Up. Hoggard been banned, the only side laner that has gotten the axe thus far. And for now, it's Urel, and we get Maiev. Maiev, Urel for the Krankle crew. And, well, last but not least, for the Cats in game number 1 of our best of 5 series, what is Valar gonna take here? What are we gonna get from him? A little bit more damage would definitely be welcome. Sylvanas alone is already nice, but they need a bit more if they want to be successful here. Could be another melee. They go for Mephisto though, so we get a mage in this. And that sets us up. Game number 1 in the best of 5 series. We are finally in the playoffs. Best of 5 between the Cats and the Krankle crew. Game number 1, the Krankle crew on the left in blue with Malkarx on Urel. We have the Light of Karabor here as a level 1 talent. Porky has decided to go into a Fell Flame build with Gul'dan. Then we have Deviant on Brightwing, Krankle himself on Johanna, and Sven is playing Maiev for the blue team. And our first map, over on the right side, the Cats with Captain Rex on Anduin. We get Drakia on Merlin, Hirath on Mephisto, Valar is playing Sylvanas, and then Sadath on Blaze as the final choice. So, the typical 4-1 split for the blue team, but we have a 2-3 split currently for the red team. I gotta admit that every single time that I see an Orc right now, I'm reminded of Rings of Power. Apparently Season 2 just dropped a couple of episodes, and Season 1 was already an utter disaster where they just bastardized the actual lore from Tolkien to an extent that was just ridiculous. But Season 2 apparently is making matters worse, and this is specifically true when talking about the Orcs here. So, since we have Gul'dan in front of us, very different of how Orcs are being portrayed in, let's say, World of Warcraft and what you get in Lord of the Rings, where they are just a personification of evil. And what they're apparently trying to do now is Orcs in Lord of the Rings all of a sudden have families and kids. I honestly couldn't believe it when I heard it for the first time. I actually thought someone was taking the piss. I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, that's not how Lord of the Rings orcs work. But no, they are basically, you know, they're just misunderstood. Orcs in Lord of the Rings are just misunderstood creatures right now. They got families, they got kids. And I nearly spit out my coffee when I realized that this was actually true. But yeah, tell me that the writers have never actually read Lord of the Rings without telling me. That's what I took away from it. Anyways, very different obviously than what we have in World of Warcraft, but yeah, it's just amazing. So Gul'dan, be happy that you're in this universe. Yeah. At least he is lore accurate when it comes to World of Warcraft. Pursuit of Flame on level 1, I already talked about it a bit, so we have the Fell Flame build here. We got a couple of initial stacks together already. So Porky at this point is just starting to get his stacks in. Same of course on the other side from Mephisto. The 4-man at the bottom of the map should give the blue team the upper hand. But Sylvanas, after they initially pressured the top a bit, were able to take half of the tower down here, is now very likely going to rotate. I was about to say down to the bottom of the map, but honestly as she's currently trying to take one of the camps, if he gets a bit of an assist there, which he does from Anduin, then they might try and use that to push through the top lane and try and take him out here. So, a couple of things that they could definitely do with that. If you time that well, but I guess that we'll have to... Okay, they're both moving down to the bottom of the map now. I was about to say, there would have to be a reaction from the blue team no matter what. You can't just simply let an opponent use Sylvanas in the camp to crush the top lane. It's already a big advantage for Blaze as is, but down at the bottom, the Krankle crew is also applying pressure and taking the wall slowly apart. Beacon progress is currently shared, so each team controls one, for now at least. But good control down at the bottom of the map with another tether on Muradin. Drakia, alright, hops out in time. Gets even a bit of a heal, but Valar! No! Yeah, that's the end of Sylvanas. The Banshee Queen, the first one to fall, and then Gul'dan is flirting with the tower and gets taken down pretty quickly. Shot straight to the face, and that's a kill for a kill, which actually puts the red team in a position where they can take the beacon at the bottom. And it's not too late, because they lost control at the top, which gave the Krankle crew now a nice lead in beacon progress. So they're sitting at 24. Ooh, Anduin also going down. Okay, Crybaby gets destroyed. And now the chance to work on the objective a little bit more. That's actually looking very good for the Krankle crew now. So far, the red team hasn't gotten any progress there. Not only are they starting to lose the objective, but at the same time, they're also losing the bot lane pretty aggressively. I mean, that wall is gone, so if now 100% Zergwave is traveling through it, that port is just... I mean, that will be destroyed within seconds. I don't think that they can hold that. And it's indeed 100-0. Now you get, of course, the pity part of the 18%, so that you have at least something traveling through the lane. But this is still a pretty nice push now with all the AoE that also comes to fruition for the blue team. So they should get that fort, and once that fort is gone, that means bot lane beacon control is very difficult since all the fountains are gone. And yeah, with the wall, they might have had a chance here, but since they lost that early, there's absolutely no way to safeguard this anymore. So goodbye fort. First one's gone. Easy defense, of course, up at the top. Yes, the wall has fallen, but still, if you compare that as a trade, it's pretty clear who's getting the better one. And they're getting more. They're getting at the bottom of the map now. Also, solid damage on the keep wall. Might take the gate down completely. If they can push this a bit further, Gul'dan completes his quest as well. Both teams still on level 4 talent, but level 7 about to kick in for the blue team. And yeah, they should be able to take at least the gate out, maybe even one of those towers, if we can just push a little bit more with Porky, and indeed they do. So the gate is gone. Yeah, that one. Okay, there, off we go. I was about to say they're not getting the tower, but they were still able to pull that off. So yes, the tower is indeed gone. Good for them. But Urel at the top has also not fared too badly over here. So yeah, interesting start into the game and into the series. So far, blue team definitely with a bit of an upper hand here as they are trying to, of course, take the lead in the series now. We have a loser's bracket. This is a double elimination system after all, so a quick reminder on that. If you lose here, you're still in the tournament. You can still make the big plays. And with here, I mean the best of 5 series, not just the map alone. But you can always just bring it back, you know, and make your way through the loser's bracket, go for the lower bracket run and try to end up in the grand final. But obviously the much easier way to accomplish that would be through the winner's bracket. And the teams are going to aggressively try and push for that. Game number 1, it's still even in experience. The loss of the fort at the bottom of the map is definitely foreshadowing a potential lead for the blue team. But right now, oh, they're getting another kill too. Sylvanas falls again. Yeah, this is getting more dangerous than expected. So even with the experience being nearly the same here, this is starting to become more of a problem because momentum is continuing to build up for the Krankle crew, and the Cats have clearly some issues with this. I mean, this push is now already taking another wall out. This sets things up for later on when the second objective spawns. The solo lane has now also swapped, of course, since Blaze moved down to the bottom of the map. The 4-man rotated topside simply because they took the fort out. So now the goal is to eliminate the second one. And the gap in experience is finally widening. So the blue team is capitalizing on the passive experience gains, but also the added kills that they're getting and control of the map in general, which leads to an early level 10 ability for them. And that might result in them getting the objective again, or at least the initial lead here. That is what they should be fighting for sure. So level 10 any moment, down at the bottom, bit of a chase, but Urel easily going to be able to move out on this. Top of the map. And, by the way, control again, Sacred Ground. This is a talent that we are seeing a bit more often lately after it was played with roughly a 50-50% pick rate in the Korea tournament. If you missed out on the Korean meta and the Korea Cup, you can still check out the playlist on YouTube, of course. So just have a look at the playlist. Korea Cup is one of the recent tournaments that we had. And not only do you see different heroes, but also at times just different playstyles for those heroes. And Sacred Ground for Urel is one of those examples that has now occasionally been adopted on the western side. Nice! Mirroring goes down just before they get their level 10 ability. So really nice use of that window where they had heroic abilities from Krankle crew. They have double control on the beacons again, and there might be a chance to take back the top, but Urel is now in full control at the bottom. Light bomb, maybe a kill. Brightwing with an assist attempt. They're coming in with Sven on Maiev, and it's Mephisto that falls. He goes down, 5 kills to 1. They look for the counter kill, but Sven is able to get away. Anduin on the run too. Has to move out here. 94% to 0 already as is, and this is looking very, very good for the blue team. Sacred Ground used by Urel to control this point even further. And now that Maiev is also back from the Nexus and is starting to make her way over, it seems like the objective is going to end up in the hands of the Krankle crew once again. Brightwing with the help. Sacred Ground is just going and going and going. The zone control here is crazy. They go for a blaze. Porky in the back is put under pressure by Muradin, who has to jump out now. But this is another huge objective for the Krankle crew. 100% 2-0, aka 18. You always get that little bit of a pity portion there. But 6 kills to 1 now that Muradin has fallen again. And it is, of course, going to result in another quick kill or quick destruction of the fort right here. So, tough times for the Cats. The Krankle crew definitely in high spirits as they are opening game number 1 up with a bit of a bang. At least initially it looked very even, but now we have a 5-kill gap between the two teams. And we have level 13 about to kick in too. Attacking Urel at the bottom of the map. Might actually fall, but oof. Is able to get out here. Good escape. So that's a lot of resources that were already used in an attempt to take this on. But it didn't pan out that way. Now the topside keep is under pressure too. Yeah, this is starting to speed up a bit. Red team is of course hoping to get a quick kill, but they also have to engage now against an opponent that has a talent advantage over them. Not really the ideal situation to fight. Yes, Urel isn't here, so that turns it into a 5 versus 4. But the blue team is absolutely willing to just walk away here. Dark Bargain for Gul'dan is what we have. And Urel was able to push the bot lane out. Again, not a problem here for her. There was no resistance. After Blaze moved towards the top, there was nobody that dealt with this. Malkok should be able to get out. Yes, we don't have Divine Steed or anything. That still has the ult up. Eats the Stormbolt first. Brightwing might have to come in here and assist a bit. But it's Urel after all. And even with a Skullcracker connect from Muradin, they just can't take her out. It's actually kind of wild. So both Urel and Jojo are usually just heroes where it's so difficult to take them on. The good old cardboard sketches with Johanna that gets attacked by Illidan and she just can't do anything against her. I'll never forget that. And it is absolutely fitting. But now they go for Muradin again. Great Horrify. Avatar gets used, but Dracula still falls. Dracula eliminated. Then we get the disc against Anduin, and that should seal the fate of him as well. They are already in the middle, so why not go straight up for the boss? And that's exactly where they're headed. 2-level advantage, still a level 13 talent lead that they already held for a while now. And with 37 kills for Gul'dan. He's matching Mephisto, the two of them are on the same level here. But 8 kills to 1 really tell the tale. And now that they're able to take the boss too, they can go for more pressure. They have the top lane already being pushed out by a camp that they claimed earlier. And yeah, now they can just run the top and try and destroy the keep for good. And the danger is that they're getting this close to level 16 as well. I mean, the gap is just widening right now. If you take a look at the experience, you see that hero experience alone is just absolutely crazy. Mercenary experience, another example where the blue team is just in a gigantic lead. And then you, in addition to that, look at the passive experience thanks to the forts that were destroyed earlier. It is really quite obvious that the blue team is absolutely dominating this. He will pick up level 16 talents very soon. Right now it's even talents for a few more seconds, but the keep at the top is going to get destroyed. Urel has prepped the bot lane already, and the beacons are activating in another 8 seconds, which is roughly going to be at the same time where we're going to get level 16 talents for the Krankle crew. So if they get another objective here, we are likely going to look at a lead for the blue team in the series. The synergy with the level 16 talent now also, of course, present for Gul'dan. They're still attempting to chase at the top. The Cat's fully aware that they need a fight, they need a win. But they're 3 levels down. The stats advantage for the blue team alone is already gigantic. And then on top of that, you have the talent lead. So there is a lot that comes in on this. Yeah, quick hit on Gul'dan. Porky, careful, but they're getting Maiev. Maiev gets eliminated. So easy kill against her. Still Urel trying to buy a bit more time for the blue team with another Sacred Ground that gets dropped on the beacon. Top lane beacon control is under control of the blue team, and they nearly have the objective, by the way. They're so darn close. Muradin has to jump out. There's also catapults pressuring through the top now, which is another problem. But they get the objective. This is the 3rd Zerg wave where they get the 100%. And honestly, not in a single one of them did the red team accomplish even a single progress point. The 18% that they got every single time is just a result of a mini wave spawning. Basically just the Ultralisk, having the Hydra and a couple of Zerglings there. So that's the only thing that they are getting, and that tells you everything you need to know. Not at any point were they able to control the point properly. Voila! Getting hit into a corner by Urel. They still want the kill here. And here comes the pancake move as Urel jumps in. Yes, Gul'dan falls, but this seems like it's gonna spell the end of the game, of game number 1. They're going for another kill, and they're dropping Muradin without any worries whatsoever. So the core is wide open right now. They're starting to make the move here. Sadat also getting dropped. That's 12 kills, 2-3 right now. And this is gonna be game, or at least it should be. 5-man team wipe. And the core is slowly falling as we have the Krankle crew with a 1-0 lead against the Cats in this first best of 5 series and the playoffs of the Murky Cup. GG, well played.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Game number 2, Dragonshire is our second map, and it was quickly chosen by the Cats. The Cats, as the losing team, had the choice of whether or not they wanted to have first pick, first ban, which is what most people choose, but they decided against it. They wanted to have map choice, and they locked it in very quickly. So we get Dragonshire now as the second map. Krankle crew in the lead in the best of 5, of course. 10 heroes that were played on the previous map cannot be played again. That limits the pool slightly, not by too much, just a little bit. And yep, let's go and let's see what exactly we're gonna get for Dragonshire. I mean, the Haka is still up, so you could go for the Haka right now and some global action from the top. Genji also still up. Light bomb combo obviously is already out since Anduin has been played and cannot be played again. Still a hero that you could see here. Hanzo of course too. So off we go. Junkrat gets banned again. It's always a little bit sad. Good old Junkrat. All those Aussies. Really like my time in Australia. I spent 1 year in Australia after I finished university, mainly in Melbourne and the area around St Kilda, and I really enjoyed it. A lot of traveling, a lot of checking everything out. It's actually kind of funny. I met a lot of Aussies that I then asked, like, oh my god, the country's amazing, I've been here, I've been there, like, how often do you go there? It's basically just at your doorstep. And most people that I met just told me they've never ever seen any of the things that I visited. And my first impression, my first impulse was really to tell them, like, that's insane, how can you not even visit that? It's so awesome, it's right there. And I thought about it for a second, and I was just like, all the stuff that tourists come to my country for, I haven't really visited, because most of the things I look at and I think, well, it's right there, I can go whenever, and then you never end up going. So I feel like it's always it's a pretty common trap to fall into, that you don't deem the things that are close to you worthy of visiting because you think, hey, this is just, you know, this is just like an ordinary thing. It's always there within reach and it's nothing special, but you have people from all over the world traveling to those places. So I kind of promised myself at some point that I would try to, you know, check things out that are a bit closer to me. So far I've done some of them, but not all of it. But yeah, that first clicked when I was traveling in Australia and visiting things like, I don't know, Whitsundays and all of those things. But yeah, very cool. But I think there's probably a lot of people there that can emphasize with that principle a little bit as well. Anyways, Dehaka, Rhaegar. So Dehaka is an early pick that has already happened. We get Krankle now on ETC, which I really like as a tank when he's played properly. But in this context, he could also be the side laner if you play him against Dehaka and you really value that global ability. Then you can go for stage dive here. But again, as a main tank, that also works. We've seen it in combinations with Tyrande. Power slide into Tyrande stun. Now here the Malfurion route is possible. But of course ETC, while he is an insane utility tank and can really set up fights for you, can cover retreats. I mean, he's fantastic, but he's also... he can be vulnerable. He can be a little bit squishy, so you gotta be careful how you play that out and how you check this. But either way, we now got Genji. We get a Nubarak. They're going a bit more for a dive here. With Noob, they have Rhaegar, which also helps them with some of the camp clear. double pick over on the blue team side to round out the draft for game number 2 now. Team is obviously already in the lead and could now extend this further in the best of 5. Try and move on to the next round of the winner bracket. But, oh, they go for a bounty. Look at that. We get Gazlo. Okay. Gazlo and Samuro. Unexpected, but not unwelcome. I like that. Both of the picks quite fun. But I did not have them going for a bounty on the second map on my card here. So we actually get a bounty attempt. Murky, Porky is playing Gazlo. Fairly close. Porky and Murky would also be kind of fun. Final pick. I don't think they're going to go for bounty here. I doubt it. And they go for Vala. So Vala, ladies and gentlemen, Dragonshire is map number 2. Let's head straight for our second game between the Krankle crew and the Cats. Second game, the blue team with Gazlo. Porky is playing Gazlo. We have ETC as the main tank, played by Krankle. Marl Karks on Hanzo. Deviant is playing Malfurion for the team. And we get Sven on Samuro. Now over on the right side of the map, already down 1 map in this best of 5 series, we get Captain Rex on Rhaegar. We get Valar on Genji. Heras is playing Vala for the red team, Serdath Dehaka, and then at the front line, Anubarak played by Drak here. Level 1 talent, the Rocket Boots for Gazlo. And let's see if he can take it there. Give him the clamps, baby. Alright. Gazlo is... honestly, I talked about it in game number 1 that I did not expect this to be a very bounty-heavy series and that I thought the playoffs in general would not produce a whole lot of bounties, and apparently I've been very wrong on this, because in game number 2 already they're going straight up for some of the more difficult ones. Now there's of course quite some mercenary camps on this map. Gazlo can help you there. There's also a few choke points that you can try and control with him, and this is what they will have to try and do. But I am totally here for this. Vala gets played with auto attack style. And yeah, they're going for Hanzo. Wow. Hanzo gets absolutely whacked, has no chance here. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Vala, because the lineup that they're running is a bit different what you're traditionally seeing these days with the Vala composition. Normally when you're looking at her with an auto attack style, you have at least 2 healers. If there isn't a second healer, then oftentimes we get 1 strong healer paired with Medivh, maybe Zarya, just anybody else that can keep her alive. But you want to give her a lot of support, or at least a triple front line. And in this case we have none of that. The reason why we normally see it is because you want to avoid her dying, since you are heavily reliant on her auto attack speed that she gets from the Gambit part of her level 1 quest. The synergy with Manticore on level 16 is pretty big in that context too, but right here she is not played as that hyper carry that tries to alone bring in the DPS, but with a second damage dealer at her side. So even if Vala loses a few of those Gambit stacks by being killed, it's still fine as long as she properly stacks her level 1 and she can make the difference. So as an auto attacker, we'll see how much they can do with her now in their midst. But that's clearly the thought process behind it. Try, of course, to keep her alive. Even if, as in this case, it doesn't work out. As long as she stacks, it's alright. But that's 5% of the auto attack speed gone. But it's clearly something that they're okay happening in this game, with the assumption that they can pick up the slack with Genji and also just the auto damage itself. But also, well identified by the blue team. Able to come in and get that kill was pretty important. An attempt by Dehaka to sneak in a Dragonite, which hasn't quite worked out, so wasn't able to get that. Sven is now also getting pushed back. Bit of a leading experience. Nice, good power slide. Root follow up from Malfurion. And they try for Anubarak, and Anub got wrecked. He's down, and that gives control to the blue team, and also a Dragonite that they can now claim in the middle. Sven takes it at the 3-minute mark. Well done, and with the first I mean, this early on, he's not gonna get too much done. What you want to do is focus very heavily just on your Dragon's Breath, on your abilities. If you get the angle and you can get some hits in, then hey, by all means. But just keeping the Dragonite alive, ideally for its duration, and just over and over use the Dragon's Breath here is going to give you lane value. and it helps you to just draw some resources that need to defend while you're pushing on a different lane. Now, that was also the thought process that they had. They tried to do exactly that with ETC at the bottom part, but he gets down on by Anubarak and then gets eliminated. And not only that, they lose Malfurion too. So Malfurion is now also dropped. Rocky at the top, still in his 1 versus 1. Has gone with Gazlowe into the hyper-focus coils, and then after that, the Master Blaster. Master Blaster reminds me of Tank Blaster. Do people still remember Tank Blaster? Like, mega old game. Had a fantastic soundtrack though. I gotta say that a lot of these 8-bit soundtracks back in the day were just amazing, were absolutely incredible. And Tank Blaster had definitely a really, really nice one. But yeah, Master Blaster for Gazlowe. That's how we ended up on that little tangent. But yeah, let's go. Maybe no. Krankle, can we go for a slide? There's not enough damage to really follow up on it, and in an ideal world you also want to have, as mentioned before, Malfurion there. Give you that extra root. A bit more CC. But the red team is now taking over in experience. Not by much, just slightly. Basically an even game. But essentially what it comes down to right now is really the attempt of the Cats to win game number 2 and make this an even series. Now for the blue team, of course, it's not only about trying to get ahead here, but they also want to win the bounty. So there's a lot on the line for them. And yeah, we'll see what they can do on this. But next little attack is coming. They're already pushing at the bottom of the map again. In this case, the blue team with the Siege Giants is like trying to hold on to this for as long as they can. It's currently still doing that. Level 10 kicks in, but the gap is small. Cocoon was used right away though. They're hoping to force a fight. ETC rotating in right now, becomes the target for a second, but is able to get out. Gravel Bomb from Gazlowe, not going into the Robo-Goblin. We get the Gravel Bomb instead, and they're already with another drag using the Haka to try and put Krankle in trouble. Not able to do that. So a couple of attempts here with the early heroic abilities that we're trying to use to get a kill. Didn't really work out for them yet. But then at the same time, we now have for Samuro, for example, Illusion Master. He is obviously going to become a huge pain in the later stages of the game. And I mean, it's one of the main reasons why you're going for him. But they have essentially 2 heroes that can be a bit problematic with the push power that they can bring to the table here. So we'll see how aggressive they're going to be with the 2. But the red team is clearly looking for kills, and they have not done too badly. So once again, starting to move in and making some moves. Yeah, here comes the arrow. They're trying to go for Captain Rex now, but weren't able to take Rhaegar down. Set up with another drag, and it is... Oh, Dehaka, no way. Dehaka gets away. Tried to use his ult there too. Gazlowe currently not with the team, but boy are they just going for fireworks here. Level 11 to level 11 right now. Well, Vala gets away with 68 points, but Rhaegar not so lucky. Rhaegar's gone, and Ubarak also gets fully body blocked. We have 100 stacks now for Vala, so that's the second quest reward that she got on her level 1 talent. But the blue team, they have the momentum at the bottom of the map now, and just the right heroes in position as well. So they're going for the fort, and this one will be destroyed. The red team doesn't even try to defend it. Can't do a whole lot there. But this is going to hurt quite a lot. Losing one fort early on, losing control over the lane. Top side is, of course, we're going to try and do the same thing. And once those 2 fountains and forts are gone, things will become a lot more difficult around the objective itself. So Vala gets attacked here. Anubarak misses the dive. Time, on the other hand, is working in favor of the red team. The arrow was fantastic, but it just didn't have any consequence. The idea was to save ETC, but he just fell way too quickly. So they weren't able to save him. Double control, on the other hand, on the beacons. The red team is going to deny that soon. They still have the Haka in the middle, so no real risk or anything. And yeah, 5 kills, 2 5s for now. But they still have Samuro. And Samuro at the top, he's now doing what Samuro does. Doesn't have the infamous Abatha support that would allow him to just simply YOLO in on structures throughout the game. but is still able to do a decent amount of damage at the wall. I mean, again, he's gonna nibble away at those whenever he can. But here come the cats once again, trying to go for the objective and for the kill. It's a mosh pit, baby, and Tranquility is being used too. Tranquility in saving ETC, the mosh pit, real nice, but they weren't able to get a kill. It saved ETC at least, but I thought they could do maybe a bit more on this. Samuro also interrupting Genji as he's trying to go for the objective. Draco now, arrow, short distance from Hanzo. That could have been a problem too. A few times that Genji was attempting to sneak the dragon statue, but couldn't, and now the play is made for the Haka once again. And he's in real trouble, gets body blocked as well. ETC dies first, and the Haka is still alive. You gotta be kidding me. The Haka is alive and makes it out. They targeted him so hard and still couldn't kill him. Now we have another attack coming, and Vala's of course just generating points for her level 1. Is that sitting at 162 stacks. The Dragon Knight at least got denied, but damn. They were running into some real difficult times there in that fight. 6 kills to 5 now for the cats, so they are bringing the pain, but they're also falling behind in experience again. And in the middle of the map, for example, this fort has already taken some damage. No! What? I wasn't even considering that they could be able to get the Dragon Knight here, because Anubarok was right there looking to interrupt it, but apparently he failed on that, missed out on it. At least Samuro gets killed. Overcharged capacitors, but it is DK number 2 for the Krankle crew. And they're gonna get another fort. Yeah, they're gonna take another fort out here, I believe. A bit of a kick on Vala, so she's back. And one more Dragon's Breath is basically all that he needs from here on out. Not even that. Fort number 2 has now fallen. More problems for him. Oh! The arrow on the way as Sven pauses the game. That shouldn't really hit anything. The red team is obviously gonna know now that an arrow is on its way, and a big part of what makes arrows so dangerous is when you don't see they're coming and all of a sudden, you know, they just connect. But since they know that it's on its way, everybody here should be able to sidestep this very easily. So that's a cooldown that I would be shocked to see have any huge value. We have both of the teams on level 15.5 right now. And it's actually the blue team that also did this, that went for the pause. Now, they lost Samuro. I'm not quite sure if this is part of why they lost him. But, well, time will tell. I didn't even see that. Look at you. The Haka. Oh, there we go. Just tunneling over as it seems, but yeah, fantastic. Gaslow goes down. The arrow didn't do too much, but the Haka mid-air was just great. I only saw the arrow initially. I didn't even realize that the Haka was kicked at that point. So now they go for the fort at the bottom of the map. Seems like the team is at least gonna get something done here. The red team. And they have level 16 talent. I mean, they have a slight lead in experience. And to be honest, with Vala now picking up Manticore, she hasn't died that much. She's sitting at 187 stacks. And Vala has only died a single time. So it means 20% of the attack speed bonus is still intact. She's at 26,000 damage. That still is a far cry from what we are seeing from Hanzo, for example. But Hanzo's damage is also a lot more poke, whereas a lot of Vala's is really single target, and she has her AoE too that contributes, of course, but she has also a lot of auto attack stacks that already connected, and this is going to become dangerous for the frontliners as the game continues. Now, there are a couple of ways how you could possibly still cheese the game slightly, and one of the things that I pointed out earlier is, of course, Samuro. So he needs to be mentioned in that context as the game progresses. And it's not like the blue team is too far behind, right? They're a little bit behind in experience, but it's not really a big margin or anything. They're also on level 16 by now. Vala nearly on 200 stacks, by the way. So girl is getting there. And now at the bottom of the map, yep, voila. Careful, Setup is coming in. Genji is trying to zip out here. The red team with an attempt to invade, but that failed. So they weren't able to get a lot out of this. No kill, didn't get the camp. So for the blue team, everything's fine. Might have been a scary moment for a second. Not too much. Vala any moment now, by the way, with her 200 stacks. So that's going to give her another quest reward on this. Top side, Gazlo, Porky. He's retaking the shrine. And down at the bottom of the map, Captain Rex is making sure that there's not another quick DK taken by the other team. So, yeah. Rhaegar already on the move. But it's a very, very close game. The problem is really the structural lead that we're seeing for the blue team. And they're trying to extend it by now pushing at the top. But generally speaking, you gotta give it to the red team. They're fighting tooth and nail here. They're ahead in kills now. They're hoping to win this through team fights. And they're not doing too badly. But it's another Dragonite, and that's the third one out in a row for the blue team. And that's just a theme here. While the fight's not going too horribly for the Cats, they're just losing out on the objective and also structures. ETC slides out, Tranquility is used, and there's nobody defending at the bottom. They're now finally starting to retreat, but there's Siege Giants and Catapults already doing work down here. And then on top of that, we have the Dragonite appearing, so the wall falls within seconds. Topside fort is now about to get destroyed because the red team has sent all of their heroes essentially down to the bottom of the map in order to deal with this. But they're losing more and more ground. Yeah, the topside attack continued. They went onto the Bridge of Death to take another tower out, which they have. So one tower destroyed over here. And the DK has gotten value. Not only some damage down at the bottom of the map, but also resulted in the topside fort taken. So now it is a lead in experience as well for the blue team. They're currently half a level ahead and will move on to a faster level 20 if things stay on the same trajectory. The few camps that can be claimed. And Samuro, again, is a pain. He's a problem now. You have the Haka, obviously, who can match him at least on a global scale. So the Haka will now have to start working those side lanes to ensure they're not going to lose too much just because, I don't know, Samuro and maybe Gazlo rotate over somewhere. Talking about Gazlo, Gazlo is currently sitting on 23,000 damage. Nothing crazy, but then you look over at his siege damage and that's a different story. He's on level with the Haka. Compare him to Samuro and he's 20%, 25% farther up than that. Now we have also the upgraded ult for Gazlo. Not only for him, by the way. I mean, Gazlo went straight into the miniature black hole over here. But we have also Samuro now with a 3-bladed style. And you look at the minimap and you can see they're essentially now pinning them down slowly and steadily in their base. There's a few heroes that are trying to escape on the side of the Cats. But, yeah, it's getting a bit tough. It's definitely going to get a bit difficult here. Whereas Vala is sitting on the side lanes, not only the Haka that has to try and help them here, but the rest of the team, of course, has to pay attention to. And there's continuous pressure. I mean, now they're trying to steal the camp away, which indeed they do. So the camp gets claimed. They moved in very easily and now can maybe push over the Bridge of Death. Again, unlikely. Normally you don't want to voluntarily move into a choke point like this. There's just too many risks involved. We now have both teams with level 20 abilities. Val has, of course, gone into the Pathlight Quiver. And she is a problem. I mean, she's clearly now a huge source of damage. Arrow. Oh, that one went nowhere. Yeah, but we also have the double Ancestral from Rhaegar. That's a big one. The Haka still at the top. And Gazlo get into a good position with a pleb horse, by the way, and set the team up. That would be pretty nice too if they could follow that up on. Vala at the top still. Yeah, Vala is just tumbling around right now. I mean, really, really working this. Now, next Dragonite, and that's actually the first one. The red team finally able to get one. They got access of both of the beacons. Samuro was trying to retake at the top, but the Haka was just a little bit faster in the middle and took it for the red team. So, they haven't destroyed a lot of structures, but they opened the lane at the bottom of the map and destroyed the fort earlier. So now they are hoping to be the first team to take a keep down. The attack is coming. Side lane push. They're trying to flank in with ETC. Samuro gets some damage in. Dragonite also continuously gets attacked here. They're trying to drop him low, but that wall is gone. Yeah, it's nice when you take all the forts of your opponent out, but at the end of the day, you need to go through the keeps and go for the core. And this seems like the Cats are currently trying to do here, so they are a bit more goal-oriented. A little bit more single-minded on this. Damage output for Vala, 42,000, Hanzo at 67k. Even Samuro is ahead of Vala right now. He's sitting at 47k. That keep is not taking a lot of damage, by the way. So Malfurion got punted out, but the rest of the team is getting slowly forced back. There's always some flanks coming. Either Samuro is making a move, or ETC is sitting at the sides. They just don't get any real breathing room that they can use there. Yeah. Mirror image kicking is not going to win you the game. ETC died 3 times, so he died the most so far in the game. Now, did that Dragon Knight really do enough? Destroyed the wall at the bottom keep? I'd say no. Oh, ETC! And he has his ult in, but they just can't follow up with enough damage. ETC goes down, the miniature black hole gets used. ETC himself with death metal, but they couldn't get a kill. So they catch 2 with it, and now the chase is on for Hanzo, and he makes it out. The control from Gazlo in that choke point is definitely good enough for them. The problematic is the same though. The red team is gaining momentum in these team fights, and for the blue team it seems to be highly difficult to get kills here. And it's becoming very obvious in most of these fights. Now Hanzo goes down too, and the Cats, they definitely realize that they have an opportunity here. Not only to take the keep out, but maybe to do even more. Vala is fully stacked now. She died 1 single time in this game. She's fully stacked, and Kirath is just dropping the damage. The Gazlo bounty might fail for the Krankle crew. I'm not sure if they can actually take this. So right now, the core slowly getting destroyed. 56,000 damage for Vala. Samuro goes down too. This should be the end. I mean, how can they recover from this? ETC falls. Everybody that comes back is essentially dying immediately. And this is looking like a foregone conclusion for me. 12 kills to 6. They go for the core. The series is going to be tied. We have the Cats with the victory. They deny the bounty, and they take the W in game number 2. Well played here on Dragonshire. GG and well played. Murky. The Gazlo bounty. Gazlo bounty did not quite work the way that the Krankle crew was hoping for. It honestly didn't look too bad until the late game. I'd say they were looking alright. They took more of the forts out, but then team fights became harder and harder to win for them. And eventually, they suffered. Now Cho'Gall gets banned. It is Infernal Shrines, and they're going up against the Cats after all, who have played Cho'Gall in the past. Just because, not even for a bounty. So now that the hero pool is starting to get a little bit thinner, you want to remove some of those preference picks on the other side too. So 20 heroes have now been played in this series and are therefore unavailable. We're in game number 3 of the best of 5. I don't expect the bounty on a 3rd map, but just in case that the teams are thinking about it, here's again the list of bounties. So this is obviously the full bounty pool. Each team has their own bounty page. So if a team already completed the Butcher bounty in the past, then others still can do it. You just can't farm the same bounty over and over again in additional series. That's basically the only restrictions here, or one of the few that we have. But let's see what they're trying. By the way, the one bounty, I believe at this point it's actually the only bounty that was never even attempted, not even tried, is Twin Blades variant. I have to stress this over and over because this is how shit Twin Blades variant is. That all the other bounties, no matter how crazy, were at least tried before. Twin Blades variant, every single one of the teams has looked at it as like, nope. Not even in the qualifiers, we're not trying that crap. Now, obviously, there are some teams that have completed so many bounties right now, they are starting to run out of possible bounties that they could go for. So we might see it eventually in the context of the playoffs. But it is a pretty big indicator of what teams currently perceive to be like literally the worst thing that they could possibly do for their chances of winning a game. And the worst thing is apparently Windblade's variant. Jane and Leoric is what we're starting off with on Infernal Shrines from the perspective of the Cats. So that gives us a lot of AoE control for the Shrine and burst damage with Jaina. If you see that, I mean, you want to have somebody that, you know, gets your stuns out. Varian maybe with a taunt could be an option for them now. But we'll see. Could go Stitches, I guess. White Mane gets claimed by the Krankle crew, so if there was any kind of incentive to go for Stitches and White Mane and try for the glow bounty on the side of the cats, then that was now shut down successfully. But if you get Stitches and then some kind of stun, doesn't have to be Tyrande, again, whoever has a stun or some CC available to you follows up on it, Jaina gets a free rotation of her damage and can potentially blow the target up. So, as a sniper comp, this could work. I wouldn't be shocked to see Varian banned out. Just saying. Stitches, Varian are the two that probably come to mind here first. Diablo is also still up. Let's not forget about Diablo. Diablo together with Leo, you can really just ping-pong people around into walls all day, 6 days to Sunday. So, might be something to ban out here. Good chance it's a frontliner that the Krankle crew is going to try to eliminate now. And they go for Stukov. Okay. They're more worried about the support follow-up to whatever is being set up here from Varian, from Diablo, than they are worried about who will make that play. I mean, again, Stitches also still in the running, but I think those three are probably your top choices for the red team at this time. Zagara, very, very early pick also for the Krankle crew. I mean, not something that we are seeing here that often. Hammer! It's Hammer time! Sergeant Hammer and Deckard Cain. Very late tank pick for them. But now we have Sergeant Hammer. We got Zagara on the other side. So the janitor is going to have to clean the house. He's going to get rid of all of those creep tumors whenever he can. And I suppose that Jaina is also going to help as much as possible for her. But I like some of the priorities that we're seeing here. Sergeant Hammer now in this context. Let's see what Garrosh can do. And also what the final two picks are. I mean, they still haven't taken a proper side... Oh, double Protoss. Oof. Tassadar and Zeratul. Okay. We're going double Protoss on this one. Fair enough. I mean, that's OP as hell. Protoss alone is already way overpowered, but if you just drop two of them, whew. And that gives us our tank, I suppose. Yes or no, they already have one. Amazing joke. But the real tank is Chen! Chen main tank! They're going again, taking a page out of the Korean playbook with capybaras. Chen main tank. As I said, check out the playlist on YouTube if you haven't seen the Korea Cup. Some really nice meta changes, so if you want to see something a little bit different, Chen main tank is a good example here. The playlist is on YouTube, so just have a look there. Infernal Shrines, map number 3. Krankle crew against the Cats, ladies and gentlemen. So at this point in time, the series is tied, a 1-1 between the two teams as we're heading for our third map. Porky with Zeratul for the blue team is now speccing straight into Greater Cleave. Going for a bit of an AoE build. We have a double Protoss for them as they are playing Malkarks on Tassadar. Krankle is currently running Garrosh. We have Deviant on White Mane and then Sven on Zagara. To the right side of the map, Captain Rex with Deckard Cain. We got Hirath on Chen. Drakia is playing Sergeant Hammer. Sadarth on Leoric. Bit more side lane action here. And Valar on Jaina. So, main tank Chen, War Master and the black and white tint. Absolutely nice. So when it comes to style points, they have definitely a leg up right now. This is just simply the best skin and tin combo for good old Chen. The War Master. Right there. Love it. So yeah, definitely a couple of extra points for them. See what Chen can do as the game continues. I mean, so far he is just a damage sponge. Which is not too bad. I mean, again, keeps the damage away from the rest of the team. So, kind of job done already. For tank. Shocking revelation. It's kind of your job to tank for the team. So, that's exactly what they're currently doing here. Rotations, obviously, between the lanes are currently happening. Mid lane top, mid lane bot lane. Was where they're moving around now. In an attempt to see if they can maybe catch someone here. Zeratul is also... Oh, getting caught here! Porky! Look at that! Zeratul is gone. Bye-bye, my friend. So, first blood goes to the red team, to the cats. Also, Creep, by the way, is spread on the map, and they gotta deal with this eventually. Chen can help with this, Leo can help with this, Jaina. They just need to make sure that someone does, because if not, then this is gonna be a legal map hack for the Krankle crew. But talking about Krankle and his boys, they're currently still sitting only at the bottom of the map, trying to also keep track of the movements of the opponent's team, especially when it comes to camps. We have one camp at the bottom already taken, that's a neutral one. The second one is about to be locked in by the blue team. And their opponents haven't really made a big play yet, just now finally the move for the camp on the right side. Krankle sniffs that out, but I doubt that they are going to be willing to really move in for this. Nice reaction also from Chen as he jumps out immediately. Siege tactics for Sergeant Hammer now. Of course, still waiting for the mobility that's going to come with level 7. For White Main, we get Martyrdom, and the Cleave build continues. So Rending Cleave on level 4. It's going to be all about the AoE for Zeratul, and he can still then jump on targets in the backline, being it Deckard Cain, being it Jaina, either one of them. So as long as you get your hits in there, you're going to be absolutely golden, of course, and can just wreak havoc. Topside, Zerdath also still pushing the lanes out and trying to escort the minions into the range of the towers and towards the gate. But with the objective coming up, both of the teams now also headed straight for their mercenary camps to ensure that they have at least some pressure at the top, while everybody's going to focus down at the bottom. Invade attempt though by the Krankle crew. That slows down also any kind of mercenary capture they could get, as long as they don't lose heroes here, because that's a full 5-man now. Everybody's ready for it. Krankle, a little bit low, but is able to get away. Sergeant Hammer was not able to get a kill here. So this could have been way worse for the blue team, as is, they denied the camp to their opponents. So they themselves have a mercenary camp at the top that needs to be dealt with, and it's Jaina that's currently on the job. But down here, it gives the blue team a leg up, since they have first access into the shrine fight. So as they are moving in, they can get the lead in shrine minions. Jaina is still at the top, which is well known to them. She's going to make that rotation eventually, but this is definitely a huge leg up now for the Krankle crew. 23 to 21 stacks, but they're pushing the team in red slowly back. Jaina moving in, Herath, careful, Chen a little bit low, needs to be cautious, gets out. It's actually fascinating to me how close they are in shrine minions. Jaina's just now coming in, right? It's been essentially a 4 versus 5 the entire time. Level 7 kicks in, but it's still the blue team that gets the Punisher. So Punisher for the bot lane as they're starting to push and starting to make the play here. Only question that remains is how much damage can they do? Can they take him out completely? Can they destroy that fort or not? Chen becomes the target once again. No surprises here either. But the fort is, yeah, they're gonna save it. It's gonna take some damage for sure, but it's not gonna get destroyed. They went through the wall at least. They took the gates down. They took the towers down too. But the fort is still standing with 20% HP. Good damage though. Nice first objective. Oh, it's getting a lot better actually. This objective just became a lot better. They get a double kill. They're taking Sergeant Hammer and Chen out, and all of a sudden they can take the fort too. So that changed things significantly. Damn. That double kill was glorious. Nice move from behind as Garrosh comes in, and then they get the kill on Sergeant Hammer first, and they're following it up with the second one on Chen, and that allows them to just make all the big plays. So, very, very nice. Now, of course, still the next question, and that would be, can they follow that up by using the level 10 window? The little play that they just made will give them an early level 10. So that's going to be one of the rewards. Get your heroic abilities a little bit sooner. If you can then push for another wall, maybe even get a kill, then you can start to build on that slowly and really get momentum here. But the red team, they have of course different plans. Chen still sitting tight, is moving in once again. Still making a couple of good moves there too. And by now we have level 10 abilities. And that gives us Archon. So yeah, Archon, and we get Void Prison. Okay. Oh, and Chen gets destroyed. Now, obviously, I got a lot of life experiences when I see heroics like this. Sometimes, you know, they're a little bit questionable. I mean, I have a long history when it comes to work experience as a pizza delivery boy, as a policeman, a fireman, as a real estate agent, and a part of that, obviously, also as an astronaut. So I personally have explored many a black hole in my lifetime, which is why I think that the choice of Tacita is at least a bit questionable here. But if they think that this is the right play to make, then hey, by all means, just go for it. Ah, nice! Nice Entomb up at the top. So that hits Zagara pretty hard. And here comes the Keck, trying to go for the save. Ah, so nice. Zagara, they could save her. She doesn't go down. Instead, they're trying to turn the fight now on to the red team. Chen! Yeah, he dies. The Panda goes down. Quick kill against him. And the Krankle crew with a level lead, 4 kills to 1, and definitely building a lot of momentum here. Going towards the top to try and take that fort out. So it seems like, Krankle! And he's gone. Yeah, well, maybe we spoke a little bit too soon there. So now that we have Archon ready, they're trying to at least use that. Void Prison comes out to cover the retreat. The two Protoss attempting to cover for each other, but not working. Zeratul at least fell. The Entomb a bit too short to trap Tacita, but it's now 4 kills to 3 as 2 were locked in by the red team, and that gives them also the upper hand talking about the next objective. So as we have the shrine popping up, it's a huge advantage. I mean, again, they had the numbers advantage here, so this is going to be a freebie for them. It's going to be an absolute freebie right there. 4 kills to 3, 25 stacks already. It's not going to be a contest. So yeah, good for them. I mean, again, able to pull that off properly. So, nicely done. Getting the second Punisher, Mortar Punisher in this case. But they're also going up against an opponent that just now locks in level 13, so that gives an advantage for defense. I would be surprised if they can take the fort here. They will definitely do some damage. Chen trying to wreak a little bit of havoc here. Help the team out. Can't do enough, but the wall falls quickly. Sergeant Hammer, of course, still problematic. And could turn the tides in favor of the blue team. Leo is still at the top. But more and more damage is now slowly being done here. But the AoE is also kicking in as Tacita just drops one Psionic Storm after another. Fort is still standing. Has taken a bit more damage than I thought it would. And Zeratul has started to move towards some of the camps. So Porky is now starting to do some damage here too. We get the protective coating from Zagara. That was the level 13 choice. In terms of damage, she's sitting at 19,000 with 21,000 for Tacita. 22,000 for Sergeant Hammer. So the Sergeant, right now, top damage in the game. And again, a kill against Garrosh. That's the second time that he's now fallen. Zeratul with good damage on Jaina, and then Void Prison. Basically just covering his retreat. Chen has been isolated a bit. Tacita gets good damage against both of the melees. But no assists for Tacita, so he's gonna fall. Tacita is gone. White Mane is trying to escape, and she gets also murdered. The Cats with the double kill. Well done. Nice double kill from the Cats. Zagara used the freedom at the top lane to push for the fort at least, and has done damage here. But it is a pretty wild back and forth now. I mean, yeah, the Cats are getting more kills again. This is a bit reminiscent of what we've seen on Dragonshire. They might have lost out on the macro game, at least at the beginning, but now that they are winning the team fights, they are not only coming back in experience, they're even exceeding the expectations a bit and have taken the lead on XP. So they're not going to be too unhappy with how this game is currently unfolding. And if they can maintain that trend, then hey, even better. As the game continues, the death timers will grow, and that gives them more map control just overall as the game continues. So, yeah, not too shabby. Zeratul, a little bit of a waiting game. They know where Zeratul is now. Jaina with a nice block. Very quickly here, but Garrosh is having a bad day now. Garrosh is really having a bad day all of a sudden. So he gets killed again. Garrosh goes down. And now the plays are being made for more heroes on the side of the red team. In this case, as you can see, what they lost, sorry, blue team, as they lost after Garrosh, they also lost Zeratul. So that's 2 heroes that get killed here. bit tricky. I mean, they want the forts now, the red team. I definitely don't blame them. I mean, in their situation, this is what makes the most sense here, obviously. Take some of these forts down as quickly as you possibly can. Chen is already on it and is making the move as we speak. So, yeah. I'm still hoping that they can get the one in the middle as well. It would be fantastic for them. They want to take the lead in the best of 5 series now. The question is simply, can they maintain that momentum? So far, it's looking good. I mean, up to now, great for them. We got 8 kills to 4, level 16, bit of an advantage there. Giant Killer, of course, another nice tool in the tool belt in order to make those moves. Siege Giant camps are now been taken. We're fighting for the next objective. And with that, both teams have level 16 talents, so we're fighting on eye level. Again, the Panda quickly with the barrel. It's actually tuned by Leoric, and Tassadar jumped in with his Archon. So Archon is in the house. Shrine minion advantage for now for the blue team. Still looking for some opportunities and a few more kills here. Can they get it though? Yes. Again, with the Void Prison, you're buying a bit of time for yourself as well. Leo goes down. Maybe now the chance. They're killing Leo, they're killing Deckard Cain. So all of the Diablo heroes seem to be all of a sudden in trouble. Jaina is on the run and so is Chen. That means the advantage goes clearly to the blue team on this shrine and for Punisher number 3. There is one camp pushing at the top and doing damage. Zagara has gone Nidus, in case that wasn't obvious yet. So that is another bounty attempt from the Krankle crew, and it will allow her to quickly move topside and take out the camp, and that's exactly what she does. So this talent is actually going to give them value right now. She gets quite some decent value out of this, protects not only the top lane, but can now also rejoin the team at the bottom of the map very quickly for the push that they are trying to use now, because this is after all a frozen Punisher. So this is going to be quite helpful to try and take the keep out. 6 kills to 8. It's a 5 versus 5 though. But Zagara is now with them. Probably also use a couple of creep tumors here. They're trying again for Leo and they're dropping him. Leo is gone. Leo is gone and now they're going for Chen. Zagara has a 16 and that is increasing the damage numbers pretty spectacularly for her. She's currently at 43,000 damage. Tassel has the top damage for the team with 48,000. They're about to kill Jaina. She's barely escaping. On the run once again. As the rest of the blue team is trying to protect Krankle. The keep has not fallen. And Jaina gets murdered by Zeratul. Jaina is gone. That's 2 heroes down for the cats. So they're getting slowly drowned over here. As we have another attack against the keep. And I think this time there's no defending it. This time it's just too much for them to handle. With a bit more poke, the keep will fall. And that's of course a fantastic opening then for action later on that could result in the core getting attacked. We're not quite there yet. They're still all a bit low. And he actually, he VPs the keep? Zagara is down, buys them the cooldowns I guess, and they get the keep after all. But they're also sacrificing Garrosh for that structure kill. So Garrosh now also gone. 2 heroes dying. I mean, I've seen worse trades. As long as they're not losing too much as a result of it, that's still fine. And I suppose they are good here. So the fort in the middle might now get destroyed here as is already beelining for it immediately, straight from the bottom of the map. So, yep, this one will fall. But again, they took a keep out. And honestly, you look at the forts on the side of the red team, and it's not like they're on 100% HP either. So, Zeratul. Uh-oh. Porky is hearthing. I think he might have just messed up a little bit. No, he's fine. But they're getting another fort at the top. So now not only the creep tumors are being taken out, the Nidus network is also getting destroyed. Zagara's popping down at the bottom of the map again. And they're stealing the camp. Boy, the timing on this one. Nice. Leo did all the hard lifting down here. And then the camp gets stolen. Doesn't change the fact that the blue team doesn't have a single fort standing anymore. But at least they destroyed that keep earlier. If they win another big team fight, this might be their ticket to a victory. In addition, we now have level 20 talents coming up. And while the red team is just a little bit faster, the cats will get 20s in a moment. The blue team isn't too far behind, so they will get it very quickly too. So yeah, not a huge difference or anything. But either way, middle of the map, still defending the forts. The forts obviously still playing a big role as well. Because when you're talking about forts right now, you're also talking about fountains. And every single shrine that spawns in the middle, if you still have a fountain for the extra sustain, then amazing. Great advantage for you in team fight. If you can just retreat a little bit, reset, and then re-engage into battle, you will have an advantage over your opponent. And this is specifically true for the shrine in the middle. So this is where the red team now definitely has a bit of a lead. Doesn't mean they're going to win the fight, but definitely gives them a slight advantage. Catapults at the bottom of the map are now amassing. That could be a problem later on in the game as we're going into Winian territory. Tassadar gets attacked, saved by Garrosh. VP already used, they're trying to actually isolate them. And Zeratul gets murdered with the burst damage just as they're dropping the fence. They're using the wall here, but Zeratul is the first one to fall, and they can't even kill Eoric as a counter kill. They might be able to take Jaina down. She had to ice block already, is still in trouble, and it is insane to me how she's still alive. Sergeant Hammer at least falls, but how is Jaina still alive? Every single time that I see her getting attacked by Tassadar, she drops in hit points like crazy, and somehow is able to sustain herself through it, and then gets healed back up. But with Sergeant Hammer falling and also with Chen now getting destroyed, this means that the blue team wins another objective. Catapults were already at the core. Topside fort has been destroyed by the minion wave here, and Tassadar is dealing with the middle just as the Punisher is coming in. So big win for the blue team. This one was huge. This was a huge victory. Getting those 2 kills, and then the objective resulted already in 2 forts destroyed. But now we're talking about a second keep that could be taken out, and maybe even more than that. Because Sergeant Hammer is gone for another 18 seconds. And one of the tricky things for the Krankle crew was just pushing into Sergeant Hammer all the time. Tassadar has by now taken over top damage in the game. He's sitting at 76,000. And just look at his siege damage. Not like his siege damage is any worse. His siege damage is also incredible. So here they go again. They want to win the game, and they have a clear shot right now. The core is already falling. The shield is gone. The only question is, can they go the distance? 2 forts, 2 keeps are gone. Krankle gets attacked again. Might not make it. Good ult from Deckard Cain, and Garrosh is gone. But the core falls to 34%. They gotta defend it. 26%. Those arcane sentries are wreaking havoc, and all they gotta do right now is go for the auto attack, and that's what they're pulling off here. A 2-1 lead for the Krankle crew in this best of 5 series. GG. Looks like we have a match point. The Krankle crew is in the lead with the 2-1 in the best of 5, and they obviously also completed a bounty on the last map. So, Garden of Terror is our map. Could be the last one for this series. Again, we're in the winner bracket of the playoff. So, if the Cats lose, Choga gets immediately banned again. Yeah. The Cats have a reputation that they want to play Cho'Gall, not only as a bounty, but actually because they enjoy playing the hero. And they have also some very annoying strategies. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were the first ones that started this stuff where they picked the level 20 death timer reduction talent on Cho'Gall. I believe it was even Garden of Terror. And then just YOLO'd into keeps, took them down, and just sacrificed themselves over and over again. And yeah, tried to just absolutely, I mean, out-macro. It's not really out-macroing. It was basically a full-on Red Dota style, where you're just trying to put your opponent into a position where they just simply can't defend against you, because every single time they kill you while you trade for a keep or trade for points on the core, you can't do anything, because by the time you crossed the map, Cho'Gall was already back alive and could help defend, so made it extremely awkward, and they enjoyed that style for a long time, so I don't really blame the Krankle crew that they're banning Cho'Gall out here. So for the Cats, that's an issue. We are also now in Game 4, which means 30 heroes have been played. 30 heroes, therefore, cannot be chosen again. So this is where some of the diversity is starting to kick in and also become quite noticeable. We have Diablo as our first pick. Definitely a good one. God of Terror also, big map. If you can get some globals here, could lead us also to an Illidan pick. I mean, Illidan is a bounty. Illidan with Hunt is a bounty that could theoretically be chosen by the teams too. So there's definitely a chance that, you know, they're just saying, okay, we want to have a pseudo global on the map. We could go for Illidan, so let's just use him here quickly and try and get at least some macro going with him. Because Illidan cannot only just zip into your team fight and help you out there and in the late game capitalize on distance safety once that forts are removed, but you also have him very nice strong on structures, and he can go for mercenary camps too. It's just a question of how long does he need for them. Then Greymane being picked early for the cats clearly indicates, okay, they want to have one of the strong heroes against mercenary camps. I mean, this is the map with the most mercenary camps in the pool. We get Cassia and we get Tyrande. So, Diablo Tyrande, that's also an old school combo. Gets played, of course, these days. Some days too. Mostly in the context of tournaments like this one where you have draft restrictions happening. But still kind of fun. Tyrande, Diablo. Nice engage, wall stun. Overcharge, bam, Tyrande follows up with a Hunter's Mark and also an additional stun. And Oriel gets banned. Didn't have that on my list. Oriel ban? Really? What do they know what I don't? What could have been the play here? Oriel and then what? You still need a side laner. Double support Cassia? They must have scrimmed against them at some point where that was played and decided that they don't want to do this. Maybe Tyrande with more of a damage focus build plus Hunter's Mark, Cassia getting fully supported and going all out there. Sven then on the side lane with another hero that can side lane but also has a lot of damage and with the double support can be kept alive. Who knows? Abathur got banned. Ah, and we get the Vikings and Arthurs. Alright. Vikings and Arthurs. Now there are bounty opportunities, of course, once again. So you could go into Longboat here with the Vikings. That's one option. Last pick. Sylvanas have already been chosen. Oh, imagine. Greymane, Lucio, Sylvanas, and then the Vikings. That's a 4-man that can raid every single lane that you have and just destroy structures. Now, we get Falstad, so there's your global, and there's Illidan. Illidan is in. So, likely that we're gonna get another bounty attempt by the Krankle crew. Them playing Illidan with the Hunt, having Falstad on top of that too. So, a very mobile team that they're executing right now, and they can also deal with the Vikings maybe a bit better in that context. For Illidan, we're gonna get quite some stacking here, I'd say. But he's also picked into Arthur, so they're literally picking Illidan into Arthur's. And we get Junkrat. Alright, match point number 1. We're going to Garden of Terror. We got the Krankle crew with a 2-1 lead in the best of 5 against the Cats. Let's see who takes the 4th map. Match point number 1. And on the left for the blue team, for the Krankle crew, we now have Porky on Diablo. Falstad gets played by Krankle. We have Malkarks on Cassia. Sven with Illidan. Again, very, very likely we're going to get Hunt as his level 10 choice. And therefore another bounty attempt. Tyrande gets played by Deviant. And over on the right side of the map, the red team with Captain Rex on Lucio. Making with Lucio and his ability to speed up the team actually up for some of the negative points of the disadvantages that Arthurs has, who gets played by Herath here. We have Vala on Junkrat, Drakia on Greymane, and then the Vikings played by Zeta. So, interesting game, for sure. This could become a wild one, 100%. Now, who is going to be able to take the big lead here? Stacks, by the way, for Cassia. Now, I want to see what Lucio can do to really help Arthurs in particular out here. Arthurs, as I already said before, is just one of those heroes that in the past was an absolute staple, but then he started to lose importance and his priority as more and more heroes were added to the game and balance patches came in. So Arthurs oftentimes is a bit of a problem when he engages into a big fight. Disengaging is tricky. When it comes to locking an opponent down with a Howling Blast, this is also a lot less reliable, especially before you completed quests, than other abilities that exist for other heroes. But Lucio is making up for some of the problems that he has and really compensates well. It's helping him, for example, to get out, can't get thrown to pieces this quickly, can also help him to connect with the opponent's team. And against Illidan, this will be interesting. After a bit of an initial skirmish, the teams are then going straight up for mercenary camps, as you would expect on Garden of Terror. Big map, obviously, and this is also playing a big role. But top, they're already trying to invade, so already we're getting some aggression from the teams here, already this early on. Falstad, he's gonna play a role later with his global mobility. Illidan again, Hunt is expected, so we will have a mobile team. And Cassia, we'll keep an eye on the stacking progress for her. Whereas for the red team, of course, the Vikings are going to maintain lane control as best as possible. And then there will be usually a 4-man that rotates. In this case, Junkrat is also not with Arthur's, Rayman and Lucio up at the top. But they're already doing okay here. And they're already starting to damage some of the structures. Down at the bottom of the map, Sven pushing now all alone. Illidan is a beast on structures. Maybe not that early in the game, but as he starts to really scale into the later stages, he is an absolute monster. If you leave him alone on any lane, he is just going to take everything apart. And you can already see it here. And this is in the context of a defense set up by Balog and by Junkrat. Of course, that mercenary camp helped, but hey, still. So one tower is already down. He's straight up going for the next tier. And Illidan is, yeah, you need something against him. Stuns are the best. There's obviously still the quick match attitude that you need blinds against him, which is of course a load of crap. What you really need against the man is stuns, 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 and more stuns. The more stuns you can really stack here, the better. You want to control him, not attacking. The slows from Arthur's help a bit, but stuns are always great. Now the first blood. Tyrande goes down after she just owled the attempt to get a seed, but the seed still ends up in the hands of the cats. And now we have a second kill. So it's not only Tyrande that falls, Diablo falls too. Both of them get destroyed here. Both of them eliminated. And that's a very nice little double kill for the cats early on in the game. Illidan is still pushing at the bottom of the map though. And he is doing work, as you can see here. Went into Hunter's Onslaught. Immolation as his level 1 talent is really helping him with lane pressure, by the way. This is a great talent for him right now. As at the top, Falstad has pushed too. So they're still trying to maintain as much control as they can over the map. Illidan is at least dealing with a few of the Vikings here. And might have to move out eventually. But Diablo also has a chance to help with Lucio. We were hoping to lock him down, but he is a bit too quick on his feet. Kill for a kill. Cassia going down, but so does Junkrat. Nice stacks actually for Cassia. That's capitalizing on these skirmishes. Her dying is not great, but that's 30 stacks already. 4 minutes in. That's pretty good. Arthur's still low, but is able to get away here. So, yeah, no additional kill. But Illidan is already proxying it. Look at this. This is done with the Vikings in the past a lot. Murky does that. Proxying the waves with Immolation now to allow your own minion waves to go straight for the structures and take the forts out means of course also that you're very deep in enemy territory, might have trouble to get away. But Illidan is controlling this nicely, so he's able to escape. He gets out here. The chase not successful, and this already shows how much damage, or how much pressure. It's not even the damage, it's the pressure that he applies currently. That's a huge problem for the red team. They've done well getting kills. They have 3 kills to 1. Arthur's now focusing more on a Death Coil build than anything else. That might actually be a bit of a problem. Oftentimes you see Frozen Tempest or Howling Blast being spec'd into against Illidan. But in this case they had different plans with Arthur's. If that's going to help them against Illidan as the game continues is a very different question. I'm actually a bit worried about this, to be honest with you. Immortal Coil, when it comes to survivability and just also damage and poking that out, those are good talents. We got Deathlord as his level 4 talent choice here for that range increase, and then you have Rhyme on level 1, which of course against auto attackers is always neat. But just considering that we have Illidan with this much damage done alone, essentially, at the bottom of the map already, that's problematic. And then Falstad with that side lane push at the top. So the Vikings haven't really gotten a big advantage for the red team yet. It's a single seed that has so far been claimed, and that was claimed, to be fair, by the red team, by the Cats. But outside of that, the lead in experience currently goes to their opponents, the Krankle Crew. And also, lane pressure is just bigger from the blue team. They're just doing better on those lanes. So this could become more of a problem after level 10. And level 10 is getting kicked in, or is getting locked in any moment now. We have the blue team nearly on level 10. Red team is going to take a bit later to get to that point. At the same time, looking at sheer damage numbers, yes, granted, 17,000 for Grayman puts him in a really nice spot. He's top damage in the game. But then we have Cassia coming in second with 12,000. Illidan, of course, not too much damage here. He's sitting at 7k, which, again, in comparison is not really too bad, but at the same time, it's nothing to write home about. So, Mama and Papa Illidan are not going to be proud or anything. on those numbers, but it's really the late game where he usually shines, and also his damage against isolated targets when he starts chasing them down. For that, the map has to open up a little bit. The conditions are obviously given, with this being a huge map, but we're not there yet. Up at the top left, seems like they're now starting to slowly make their play for the seed. But you gotta give it to the blue team. Right now, they're looking good. Right now, things are looking pretty decent. They get the seed, they go for the siege giants again. Down at the bottom of the map, Illidan has now taken the structure apart, dies to Junkrat. But again, he at least got the structure. Honestly, a moment later, and he would have probably have just jumped out, pulling a Superman with his ult. And as expected, he went for Hunt. Fits the map well. Some of the bounties harder to complete than others. This is definitely one of the easier ones if you're willing to play Illidan in the first place. But now also the fight for the camp. The gas, nah, the angle not good enough. They get a kill on Lucio, but Diablo's also likely gonna fall here. Riptire to take him down. The first one to get destroyed was Lucio, then Diablo followed, eliminated by Greymane. Illidan came in, or comes in now, and a follow-up stun eliminates Junkrat. That was great. And now they can go for Greymane. Greymane dies too, so that's now 3 heroes that have been annihilated during that fight period by the blue team. And again, they are technically the winners here. They might not have been able to grab the camp itself. Gust angle wasn't good enough. But they have the momentum now as they're moving towards the top. Cassia sitting at 42 stacks. She is stacking very, very quickly. The rule of thumb for Cassia stacks is that 8 minutes you want to be at 40. Rule of thumb. It's a decent amount. So she's not insane, but that's still good damage numbers that she's currently bringing out here. And you can already see the impact of Illidan. It's not only Diablo stun that you can follow up with Tyrande. We're having Illidan in this case with a Hunt, and the follow-up for Tyrande is fairly easy and also incredibly telegraphed, which is of course making her plays much, much easier. So, yep, 5 kills to 5. Both teams on even experience now. There is still the Greymane factor. We talked about Illidan on any structure, but the same is essentially, or in a similar case, true for Greymane. Oh, Arthas! Yeah, he should fall here. Illidan has the Hunt up. He's not using it though. Well, starting to move to the top a little bit, but they don't have vision any longer. So, yeah. Could have been a kill, but he is able to get out. Good for them to saving him. But I was talking about Greymane. So Greymane on structure is obviously also fantastic. So Illidan is great in this context. Greymane is great. So if teams win team fights and then can rotate their respective heroes onto those lanes, then fantastic. For Illidan, it's more the survivability that he has. Just sticking, reaching onto a single structure. That makes all the difference there. And for Greymane, of course, then those melee Worgen form attacks that he brings in. Illidan already jumping in towards the top again, trying to zone out the Vikings a bit. Big camps at the bottom. And, well, there's the kill on Eric. But it's only Balog that currently defends at the bot lane, and that's a double camp and a catapult that's pushing here. So he might be mega early in the game, and I don't think this is going to take their keep down, but it's still a bit problematic that they have to face off against it in the first place. Vikings, not with a bounty attempt, by the way. Diablo down, but he had the soul stacks at least. Greymane jumped in, out. Draken nearly died for this, and the Tyrande stun barely misses. But Cassia, good place by Junkrat. That was actually quite nice. Junkrat was able to make the move here. And yeah, isolating Cassia helped them to get another kill and maybe even a seed. Nah, she gets interrupted. Oh, that barbecue. Poor Lucio. Lucio doesn't even know what happened to him, and then he's just suddenly dead. Falstead takes the second seed for the blue team, so now both of them have 2. And Arthas dies. And of course, we talked about Illidan scaling into the late game, and this is really happening right now. Falstead needs to deal with the camp, with the minion waves at the top that were pushed through. But this is now level 7, 7 kills on each side, level 13 talents, 16 coming up soon. Illidan is getting stronger and stronger. The map slowly starts to open up. Some of the forts have been taken out, some of the forts have already been destroyed. Here comes the stun into stun as Illidan used the Hunt. But instead of the target falling, they're losing Diablo again. That's a problem. The Gust, but Krankle also a bit out of position, and they just don't have a follow-up on this. So there they were a bit too desperate to make the play, and it didn't work for them. I like that they are going for aggressive plays like this. I really do. I think it's pretty cool that they're trying aggressive moves, that they're really making those big things happen here. But then at the same time, when you're now looking at the situation they find themselves in because of that, yeah, that makes it a bit difficult. Tirana can interrupt at least a few of the channels, but this is going to spawn Garden Terrors one way or another. Position is technically a bit better for the blue team, but they also just now have their tank back up on the map, so they need for him to make a move. Yeah, Falstad does not have Gust. Can they interrupt? Yep, they can once again. Another one right here, but that means that the birdie is in trouble and doesn't have his barrel roll. So he goes down. Illidan tries to go for Junkrat to make it a kill for a kill, but Junkrat gets away. So now they're missing the bird. The birdie is gone, ended up in the KFC basket. Falstad wings, a new sensation. But level 16 talents for both of the teams now. One team fighting in the 4 versus 5 turn again. Illidan, now if he can make it, then fantastic. Can he? I mean, he's trying. Going for Arthur's here. And they're getting Greymane. Greymane goes down. Illidan was trying to chase them a bit. Big wave at the bottom of the map, by the way. And there's Siege Giants at the top. So there's a lot of tools now for the blue team that could become a disaster. I mean, look at this. This is going to hurt for sure. Oh, yeah. Look at the keep falling. And then at the top, this could go for the fort. They haven't taken the seat yet, but nobody's defending the bot lane. Their fight rages on in the middle of the map, and the bot lane is just fully exposed, and the keep has taken so much damage already. Illidan by himself should later on be able to drop this. The double catapult here doing even more damage on it as the Vikings are finally eliminating it. And forget Illidan. I mean, obviously, them getting the objective means that the Garden Terror is spawning right there. So yes, this keep falls, 100%. The only question is what else does. Now they are moving into the middle. This is the big chance for the blue team to now take out all the forts, maybe a second keep, and if they are getting kills here, this could be the series. We have a losers bracket. If the Cats lose, they're dropping into the losers bracket. They're not out of this tournament yet. They're not out of the playoffs. But what can they actually do? Because right now the attacks, they just keep on coming, one after another. Top side Garden Terror is going for the keep. Here comes the completed quest for Diablo again. So now he has his souls fully stacked once more. 9 kills to 9. Experience is still even. The two teams have been evenly matched throughout the series, but this might still be a 3-1 victory. Again, the aggression. Arthur's goes down. He gets killed. Arthur's gone. Garden Terror at the top is breaking through that wall, but they weren't able to take a second keep out. So at the bottom of the map, we're trying for the Vikings again. 84 stacks now for Cassia. She is starting to get big numbers through. 20 stacks for Toronto on a level 1. Cassia with 57,000 damage, top damage in the game now. Illidan, again, you just look at raw damage numbers, it's not really all that impressive, but it's really just a lot of the utility that he offers in the fight and just the ability to leech onto a single target the way that he does. So 10 kills to 9, more and more camps are taken. And you can see it also in the experience distribution. Mercenary experience heavily in favor of the blue team. Passive experience, of course, as well. It's that minion experience. This is where the Vikings play a big role. This is where the red team excels. This is why they're not further behind. Because the Vikings just keep them on track on this. Without them, this would be really difficult. But for me personally, just looking at the minimap right now, it is that mercenary experience that is really a bit bananas, because the entire map is essentially painted blue at this point. They're controlling everything here. And the red team is pinned down. Their saving grace is the level 20. That, sorry, not the level 20, is the 2 seats that they have. Level 20 would of course be nice too. I mean, both of the teams are, well, there is a window. There is a window. And that window will most likely result in at least the next seat being taken by the Krankle crew. Don't think that the Cats are going to be willing to fight for it, given the circumstances. But then afterwards, if you grab that seed, if you get your third one, you get Garden Terrors, you can bring that game back a little bit. But it has to happen soon, because there's two... I mean, there's still 3 forts standing. 2 keeps is the only thing that still exists for the red team, and that's just not going to be enough. So, yeah, once again, they keep attacking. They're trying to siege up. With level 20, we have Tyrande now with a shooting star. Cassia has gone into the Rock Stopper. Illidan hasn't even made a choice yet. Can easily go into his level 20 if he wants to. With 20, upgrade his level 10. But he goes instead into his Bolt of the Storm. Goes into the teleport here. More mobility for him in the fights. More flexibility. Trying to jump out of precarious situations too. And with all of that side lane poke that when I was seeing, we are going to have a second keep that gets destroyed, I guess. This seems to be inevitable for here now. Vikings now with Fury of the Storm. Anti-magic shell for Arthas for the extra survivability, as both teams have their Storm talents. 4 deaths on Diablo. Just saying. He died by far the most. But they defend. They have lost another keep, but they defend at least their core. So this game isn't over, and therefore the series isn't over just yet. They have another fighting chance, and now the position of the next seed is just a tiny little bit better. So if they can grab this one, maybe get us some kills with it. You know, if they can just get Garden Terrors right now and take at least those forts out, that would be a big step. If they can do that, that would be a huge step towards recovering, going to game number 5, and just closing this out on the final map. But the blue team is going to prevent it as much as they can. And they're going for camps again, but it seems like they're actually letting the seed slide. Now the lanes are pushed out, to be fair, so those Garden Terrors are going to spawn very far over in enemy territory from the perspective of the blue team. 95 stacks for Cassia, so yeah, they're actually accepting it. I think at this point they were just saying like, well, it would be worse if we lose some heroes here and then the seed gets taken. Right now we have a lot of time and space to work with. They can take a fort or 2 out, but that leaves us still in an amazing spot. And they're playing a very, very defensive game now. And to be fair to them, just when the game, once that the objective is gone and the game just stabilizes a little bit, this is going to be tricky because catapults are now becoming stronger, scaling is becoming stronger, keeps are being destroyed. So they are just trying to see if they can get some kills here. They know they're forced at the top. He can always fly in as well if need be, so he can help them out too. Olaf goes down. The Vikings, of course, playing a big role now as well. That bottom fort, mid lane fort is about to get destroyed. Bottom fort, they might even be able to hold this. Likely maybe now. But yeah, Illidan could jump in. Vikings are pushing for the top. So all of the forts will be destroyed. Every single one. But keeps won't be lost. But that's the first step, right? I mean, that's the first step that they have to make here. So this set of Garden Terrors destroyed every single fort. All of them are gone. And now just the big question. What can they do to follow up on this and recover? It's all about the team fights right now. But the blue team was willing to sacrifice some structures here. As long as it was just the outer ring of defense. They were totally okay with it. Now they have to face the music now. 63,000 damage from Greymane, 65,000 from Cassia. Falstad comes in on the same amount of damage that we're getting from Junkrat. So both of them absolutely tied on this. And now they're believing again in the power of mercenaries. Camp after camp after camp. And the red team is trying to push for some structures here, as you can obviously tell. So yeah, still making a few more moves in an attempt to go for that. Falstad is going to look for that gust later, as best as he can. 10 kills to 9. Alright. I kind of love, on the one hand I really like, on the other hand I'm a little bit concerned about how patient and defensive the blue team now plays. They have lost all aggression after they lost their advantage. On the one hand, I like it. It shows that they're cautious, that they're not overextending. On the other hand, if they overdo it, then they give a lot of the map up to their opponents without any need for it. So, well, both on level 22 right now. 79 stacks for the Vikings, and the survivability on these guys is now also pretty darn solid. And camps are finally also under control again. This seed, yeah, gets taken for free. That's 2 seeds to 0. Yeah, that applies additional pressure now also from the perspective of the cats. So, yep, not a problem for them too. 2 seeds to 0 right now. So the objective pressures, and then on top of that, still the team fight issue. And catapults! The Vikings can deal with catapults quite nicely. Without them it would be an even bigger problem. At least they have those. But Illidan is also still dangerous and could, again, end up on the core at some point. Just imagine Illidan making it towards the core. The red team, for example, is pushing as well. And then Falsa just flies across the map. All of a sudden you have the two of them. If they just have some time, it could literally get to a race here. Not saying that it is like mega likely, but we have seen situations exactly like that. One team moves out on a big map very aggressively. Illidan sneaks by, ends up on the core. Falstad or another global flies in, and already they are trying to get the better position here in an attempt to get the next seed. Yeah, Eric is trying to attack from the side a little bit, but now it's time to see if they can gather that. Junkrat, of course, instantly placing it down. Baiting it, just daring him to activate this here. Trap after trap, interrupt after interrupt. Choke point is there. Illidan still farming in the middle. It's actually a crying shame from my perspective, honestly, that he didn't go for his stacks on level 1. I would have loved to see that. And talking about stacks, Cassia is now at 105. So she's adding more and more here. And Illidan is just using the opportunity to say, you know what? While we're here, I might as well. So yeah, channel is coming. Junkrat. Junkrat as an interrupt tool is just such a nuisance. It's insanity. This is never going to be completed. So now at the top, Barrock is pushing. Illidan will have to deal with that too. Still can move towards the middle if there's a need for it and help the team out. But yeah, the Vikings are definitely on the list now for Illidan. Diablo gets attacked, but Porky is fully stacked. Even if he dies, he'll be back. So he's starting to jump in. Diablo! Gas trying to save Porky here. So far, so good. Illidan is now also coming in, but is able to move back towards the top right away. Yeah, not so sure. That seed gets claimed. The red team hasn't lost a fight in a while. Diablo moved. I actually don't even know why Diablo moved in the way that he did, because at that point I really thought there would be a follow-up. In my mind I saw Illidan already flying in and trying to do something about it and help him out, but that never really happened. So, a little bit tricky. And the Vikings are still defending at the bot lane right now. One after another. So, yep, defend, defend, defend. Now, Sven is moving over. Starting to, again, try his best here. To take the camps. You wanna... camps are insanely important on this map. I talked about it in the draft, and again, you look at the mercenary experience here, and you can already see the difference. Even with Greymane on the other side. Even with Greymane in the mix, massive difference between the teams on that. So now Diablo gets attacked again. This time he might not be able to get out. Riptire. Yeah, they get the camp, but also that's a couple of the tools now gone, so the blue team might just be willing to engage here. Or not. I think they're probably at this point really annoyed by the Vikings. Look at the Winion experience. That's insane. The difference. 20,000. That's a difference in minion experience. 20k. That's bananas. But then you have the passive experience, and there's of course also a huge chunk between the two teams. Dracula this time seems like they are having a bit of a problem here on the red team side. This would really be a problem if somebody drops now. It doesn't seem that anybody disconnected, but that would be, I mean, worst case scenario. I mean, imagine playing a 24-minute game, being in a spot where both are on 20. You have 2 of your keeps destroyed. You barely fought your way back into the game. And then all of a sudden, somebody disconnects, can't reconnect, and you have to finish the game with a bot. That would be a nightmare. Now, in this case, not happening. But, boah. Still, that would have been the worst case here. Now, they are fine. Catapult still spawning here. So far, the catapult pressure of the blue team has actually not done enough. Thanks to the Vikings. Balog sitting at the bot lane. Vikings pushing through the middle as well. And just always ensuring that there is not too much of a problem on those lanes. If those catapults 24 minutes in, for example, would make it onto the core, I mean, again, you kind of know what would happen there. would be destroyed within seconds. At least the shield would be gone. And then again, you should never count out the Illidan factor either. Talking about damage, 76,000 for Cassia, 81,000 for Greymane. But I really feel that currently it's the blue team that is starting to lose control of the game a bit. This is honestly what it feels like. Blue team is starting to lose the control here slightly. And yeah, they are not gonna be happy in the slightest. So from my end, I am honestly a bit worried for them right now. Because they had a time when they were absolutely dominating every single move on the map, and that time has already passed a while ago. They have given up 2 seeds, and the next one is going to determine which team is going to get the next set of Garden Terrors. And it might not be them. So if we get Garden Terrors for the red team, then I think this is going to be a total disaster for the Krankle crew, and they might actually lose the map right then and there. Alright, seems that the reason for the break was actually that Drag here was lagging and had some problems there. Now hopefully that is now gone and he doesn't suffer from that any longer. That's definitely not how you want to have the game decided. But as I said, this is the last seed. The position is a bit better for the blue team, but they haven't won a big fight in a while. So Porky gets immediately hit by the bullet. Good damage from Greymane, as usual. And this is where things are getting exciting. Because the next team fight could very well decide the fate of the series. So right now, level 24. Illidan is already sitting down at the bottom of the map, and somebody has to make a decision and has to really just go for it and make the big play. Now, could be now, could be later, doesn't really matter when, but if you don't win this seed, then you are facing off against another objective from your opponent. That's the reality for both of the teams. And again, we had initially 2 seeds for the blue team and none for the Cats. Now it's 2 for 2. So the Vikings are pushing the middle, the Vikings are pushing the top. They're controlling the map right now. I thought the catapults would become a problem eventually, and it's just not the case. The Vikings are too good at controlling the map fully. So that's the big deal here. Cassia. Oh, can she get it? Oh, so close. Cassia nearly had it. Nearly had it. Now the gust. Maybe no. And no, they're interrupting again. They're trying to buy as much time as they can. Cassia nearly dies. So does Illidan. Both of them are low. Arthur's went deep. A lot of ults already used. Here comes the barbecue. Diablo will die. Hellgate's out. Still falls. But he also had his soul stacks. So he's at least fine for that. But right now, there's the next channel. And where's the owl? They don't have the cooldown. They're gonna lose. Yep, they're gonna. I think they're gonna lose this game. Nice fly from Falstad straight into the hands of Junkrat. Oh boy, that must feel bad. He gets away, but yeah, then dies, and this could be. Yeah, I think we're going game 5. I just don't. The red team just doesn't win any of these fights anymore. That's the problem here. They're really struggling winning any of these battles. And it is absolutely obvious at this point. It's just too rough for them. So right now, we have the top side keep nearly getting destroyed. They're 2 heroes down, 11 kills to 11, make it 3 heroes down. Illidan is now dead, just as we have some coming back. And yes, Diablo will fall. That's game. That has to be game. The Cats, they claw their way back into the series here. Honestly, it looked like the game was over. It really looked like this was the end. Honestly, the Krankle crew, it seemed that this is a victory for them, that they can take it here on the 4th map, no far from it. The Cats never count them out. They claw their way back into it, and now they win Garden of Terror with 15 kills, 2-11 in a 27-minute game, and we move on to the final map of the best of 5. GG. Final map, game number 5. Battlefield of Eternity. So, the Illidan bounty, it failed. And, yeah, This puts us in an interesting spot. I really thought in the mid game at least, alright, this is over. I thought the Krankle crew has it, the 2 keeps were destroyed, and I was like, this is just a matter of time and they can win the game. But the Viking control that we saw from the Cats on the lanes was just exceptional, and eventually the blue team just couldn't win teamfights anymore. So, huge problem there. The interesting part now is that 40 heroes are now unplayable because they've been played before. Now, we have roughly 90 heroes, not quite, in the pool. So, that means we still have a lot to choose from. Still, it's gonna make things interesting here. Suljin gets banned, Mal'Ganis gets banned, Chromie gets banned. You can already see all of this having an impact on the bans themselves. Just that alone already gives you a bit of an idea. But we might see some interesting picks here. Cho'Gath gets banned again. It's actually kind of sad. I would have loved to see Cho'Gath, but I would assume that at this point it's just a bit too much of a risk for them. Li Ming as a first pick. We are going to Battlefield of Eternity after all, so you want to have heroes that can do well here. Most of them have already been played and are unavailable, but Li Ming is top tier pick on Battlefield, and that's why they're locking her in right away. She's definitely fantastic. Also can drive the team fight with a couple of resets very easily. And for the blue team, it's now a question on how they want to play this one out. Especially if they want to go for another bounty. They go for Jimmy, and we get Uther. So we have Jimmy in the house, meaning Exterminator, to try and take the Immortal out. Specifically for the first Immortal, that's usually quite amazing pick. But it's also a prime target for stun combos and heroes like Li Ming to take aim and blow a target to Kingdom Come. Now, on top of that, we get Varian and Stukov, and this is obviously a sniper comp from here on out. Varian, Stukov, Taunt into Lurking Arm, into Li Ming damage. This is what you're looking for here, and they're just going to try and just absolutely crush them. So, yeah. But yeah, let's see what we're gonna get on this. Now we need the next. Okay, Tychus gets banned. Alright. Yeah, I mean, as an auto attacker, fair enough, so they're getting rid of Tychus here. In damage, I'm not really too much worried about damage, but I guess what they are really leaning on is trying to force them into more of double mage or something. Mages, we have plenty of them. When it comes to decent auto attackers, then it's really becoming more of a problem. Reyna is out, ban on Suljin, Vala has been played, Tychus has now been banned too. You still could also go for a triple frontline and just pick a couple of melee heroes here that have some damage as well. I mean, you still have Thrall, for example, as a side laner that you could play here. So he's another one that will also be good. Aurel gets banned, so no double support. Uther can obviously be played as a main tank as well. You don't have to play him as the only healer. You can play him as a main tank and then add a second healer to the equation. But it seems like they are planning to use him only as a healer here, with a stun follow-up on Stitcher's hooks, and plus more stuns from Imperius. Gives us the final 2 picks for the opponent. And yeah, Dracula, Sadath. What's the second damage for them? Or do they really go triple melee? In before we're seeing Windblade variant. Bounty attempt. I don't think so. Tannis! Trash Tannis and Kel'Thas. Okay, double mage after all, but more stuns. Kel'Thas obviously brings in utility too. And the final weapon of choice, the final pick right now for Sven. What's it gonna be? Well, we still need them with a bit more damage, range damage. Reyna alone is not going to be enough. Imperius, he adds... Imperius can pack a punch, as I said in the past, but still you need more than that. And they go Morales. Okay, so they really believe that Imperius and Reyna can carry this on the damage numbers and keep Uther potentially for a stun with Divine Storm in, and then we have Morales. Well, guys, the stage is set. Final map. Game number 5 in our first playoff match here at the Murky Cup. Let's go. The decision on Battlefield of Eternity. Prepare yourselves for battle. Let's go, everybody. So, over on the left, the Krankle crew with Malkarks on Reyna. We got Krankle on Stitches, Porky on Uther, And we got Sven on Imperius and Deviant on Morales. Over on the right side of the map, we got the Cats. The red team with Captain Rex, Herath on Varian, Captain Rex and Stukov, Herath on Varian, Sadath on Atanas, Draco on Liming, and Kel'Thas played by Valar. So, and apparently, people are still trying to people are claiming right now that I actually on the last map had a score on the overlay that was showing 1-1 the entire time instead of the 2-1, which obviously was the real score in favor of the blue team. I talked about it being the match point quite a few times. And I'm not quite sure if I trust these people, so I have to double check that later, because I definitely changed the scoreboard. The only explanation, because right now, for example, I didn't change both scores. The only explanation I can come up with, if that's the case, is that I changed the score, but then I didn't save it as the template. That could have happened, but I still am going to double check. I don't trust Twitch chat. Amateur opponent as the level 1 talent choice. We get Low Blow. And we got the ace in the hole over here. Draco actually pausing the game. Now, as we already saw earlier, he had problems. I believe it was in the previous game. Yes, on map number 4. Where he apparently had lag issues. So, he interestingly enough lives in the same city that I do. In Valencia. Probably a bit of a different internet provider because my internet is absolutely fine, but he's been having some problems, and I assume that this pause that we're experiencing right now is also because he is having the same problem again. It gives us a bit of time to at least talk about the combos that are being played here, and when you're now looking over to what we're seeing from the blue team, for example, we have them with 2 supports, and I would expect Uther to really go for Divine Storm here. I don't necessarily see a reason for them to now spec into Divine Shield unless they're really so worried about Varian that they're saying, okay, we gotta have a panic button, and it's not enough to make an adjustment on Uther's level 7, for example, to make that move. So more stuns from Uther to compensate for them running that second support might be a good idea. But Jimmy, he has to bring the pain here, or at least the damage on structures. So that's something that here, that's going to be a bit of a thing. Now, in the meantime, we have, yeah, well, topside, Li Ming already starting to sneak past. Okay, fine. Alright, fair enough. She's just trying to attack the structures a bit. I was already thinking they might rotate someone in and then hope to get a quick kill here. It's a 2-3 split, by the way, this time, instead of the traditional 4-1. So we'll see how far they're going to get with that. But for now, more damage being done down here. They're trying to go for the camp. Let's see who's going to be able to grab this one. They're getting another full stun combo against Kel'Thas, and what do you know? That's actually first blood of the game. So the stuns are already nice, and that is before they're going for something like a Divine Storm. If they, of course, go down that path. That's still the question that we have to answer here. But yeah. Fair enough. Bit of damage, get the cam, come in, take some of the structures down, try to take, for example, at least some of the towers here. When the objective spawns, we're going to get some additional momentum just from the fact alone that amateur opponent is in. So Li Ming plus Artanis are going to be the 2 trying to make the plays. Stukov goes down, so he is marking another kill for the blue team. 2 kills to 0 and an early level 4. We're getting Behemoth armor for Jimmy. And, yeah, well, up at the top. With Varian going now into Lion's Maw. We have 14 out of the 25 that he needs. Taunt comes in. Sad moment, Saturn Bone right now. Oops, wrong one. Also the wrong one. There we go. For everybody that expected Windblades. I'm sorry, guys. It's not happening. At least not right now. Maybe the Exodia stack at some point feel confident enough that they say, hey, we have a few more bounties left that we can technically complete. How about we are going for the hardest one? That could happen. So, yeah. But yeah, disastrous streamer performance today, by the way. It's absolutely embarrassing. So first, the streamer doesn't update his overlays. And then he also hits the wrong button on the soundboard. I mean, it is just a disgrace. Pro streamer, my ass. I need a team after all. I need an observer. You know, we need the entire shebang. Full-on production team, second caster, have an observer here. Somebody that, like, takes care of all of the overlays. Yeah, I'm getting old. It's been a while. It's been too long, you know. At some point, you get a bit complacent, and it's just taking a toll. the years, Father Time is winning every battle eventually. Talking about winning battles, they might win one now if they're getting the kill, but Stukov is able to get out. Energy, the gravity labs that came in, not enough, but they get Varian. So, off we go. 3 kills to 0. Yeah, those hooks are hitting hard, aren't they? The hooks are hitting home. And, well, by now we're having Jimmy just taking care of the Immortal all by himself. The rest of the blue team still defending their own Immortal, and I gotta give it to them. They're so far doing a great job on this one. They might even get a kill. And indeed they do. Or are they? Oh! Played by the final hit. The final hit from Morales. Alright, good for them. So, eventually they were able to do it. But that got scary. It looked for a few seconds as if they actually let Khaldor survive this, and that would have been ridiculous. To the end. Now, 4 kills to 0, so off to a great start with the talent advantage now too. Jimmy on 7 with Unstable Compound. We now have the Putrefaction for Stitches. And they are going to get the first Immortal as well. The Krankle crew has now decided they just want to go all out on this one. Krankle crew is coming in with some big plays here. They want to be aggressive. They're trying to make the big plays. And it seems that at least in the early game they're succeeding. They're getting the objective. They have 4 kills to 0. They might even be able to get another one here. But Varian is able to get out with some help from Stukov. But of course, it didn't work out for them on Garden of Terror. And now they're just trying again here. Sunfire Enchant, by the way, for Khaldor. So going for the Nano build, essentially. And it's the red team that took it. Am I in drugs? What? Red team takes it, granted with a small shield, but I could have sworn... Hey, I swear, I need a coffee. I need something. How did that happen? I had the blue team completely backed on this one, but no, it's the red team that wins the objective. The Krankle crew is still heavily ahead and in the lead here, but this might even go and get the first kill for the team, and Imperius just stands there and takes it. Varian runs in, and Heroth says, yep, I got your number, and took him down. So, nicely done. Okay, Streamer is clearly drunk, and it is an objective for the red team, but they didn't get too much out of it. Dropping a few walls. That's all that they could do here. So, yeah. But again, Malkark's now down at the bottom of the map. I was also trying to take that down. Gets a helping hand, and he really needed one. Might still need one. That taunt against Stitches, but the man with the big hit point pool is gonna survive this. So yeah, Stitches is able to get out. Get swapped though! Oh, in the corner! And them heals! They're strong enough. The level 7 adjustment, by the way, from Ulta has happened as already predicted. Guardian of Ancient Kings is in, but now they're losing Jimmy. So that's the second kill for the Cats. And the Cats are starting to gain momentum. Bit on the roll here. Meow. Not too bad. The Cats again, after they clawed their way back on Garden of Terror, they're now doing work on the final map too. Liming, by the way, without Calamity. So it's just going for a lot of range poke here. And, of course, also trying to capitalize a bit with that talent on setups that we are going to see from Varian eventually. So, yeah. Another camp. Get Reyna's Raiders. We also have Putrid Bile. Divine Storm, as called. Jimmy, of course, with the Stim Drone, potentially now. And here comes the attack, and Uther just disappears. Instantly gone. No chance. Uther, that old goober, got instantly destroyed here. The man didn't even know what to hit him. I mean, that old fart just went the way of the dodo bird within half a sec. No chance of escape. Gets totally crushed, and that leads to a halftime show victory for the red team once again. So they are able to completely crush it here. Now defended the bot lane. And then we'll see if on top of that they're able to win the entire thing now. Artanis with another few swap attempts here. Sadaf needs to be careful. He's starting to drop a bit low in HP, but still totally fine. Another combo from Li Ming. Careful, gets hooked. Gravity Lapse misses. Done against Varian. Here comes the Divine Storm. They're locking up the CC chain. Khaldor! And he gets away! And instead they're turning it on Stitches. Stim Drone has already been used previously. Stitches again gets hit hard. The CC is there, but the survivability is too with the double support and then him also running Devour. They're able to keep their main tank in play, so Krankle is still alive. Well, the Immortal battle still raging on with the lead for the red team. They're trying to get kills. They're trying to utilize Stukov here with the growing infestation to shut them down during those fights in the choke points, but it hasn't happened yet. So nobody has fallen, but the red team is pushing in as the blue team retreats to pick up some hit points and some mana. And Stitches again finds himself the target. The hook against Varian, but Artanis is about to take the Immortal. The Immortal claimed. They get a kill against Varian though. So they lose one hero, but they take the Immortal. Drag here gets pinged hard. And now we'll see how good the defense works out at the top for them. But it's another hard-fought battle. The entire series already looked like this, where they were just trying to edge out small advantages. And honestly, in most cases, it really seemed like it was the Krankle crew that was doing well until all of a sudden they didn't anymore. And the cats clawed their way back. But now it might just be the opposite on this 5th game. So we're having the red team with some really neat moves. They're going for Uther. Porky! So much damage, and Uther finally falls. They kept him alive for such a long time, but finally he gets destroyed. And now they have the chance to try and follow that up with additional kills. But what happens instead is that they are just losing Khaldor. So Khaldor gets murdered, he goes down. And that is making things a little bit awkward, because just as it seems like, yep, maybe now we can make a move here. They're losing more heroes, the attack doesn't have the same zip, but at least at the top the fort has fallen because the Immortal was a bit too strong for Reyna to take it out by himself. You know, the experience gains that we've already seen earlier are now benefiting the blue team. They have a level 13 talent, small window, but still potentially usable. Gives us, amongst other things, now also the line him up. Behemoth armor with 26 stacks. Survivability, of course, increasing for Jimmy as the game continues and he participates in the fights here. Nice delivery system, but a nice follow-up also from Artanis as he goes in with the blind. And we have Stukov with a big slap, my friend. Yep. Hear it? Still a bit low. Doesn't have his cooldown back, and then it's Jimmy who comes in and delivers the final shot right between the eyes that drops the main tank of the cats. Li Ming, by the way, is still playing this out with that range build that she has been emphasizing from the start, especially with her level 7 talent choice. And now what we're getting is Glass Cannon on 13. So they're really gambling a bit, and the idea is, of course, the entire time to first of all attack the Immortal from range, but also do the same thing whenever we're seeing a taunt from Varian. So that's definitely making it possible for them to blow a target up very quickly, and they just feel that against all of that sustain that we're seeing here, they need the extra damage. Not only against the duo of Uther and of Morales, but also Devour that we're getting from Stitches. 55,000 damage from Li Ming, 29,000 from Khaldor. Artanis, by the way, hasn't even died yet. Neither has Li Ming. And then over on the blue team side, the 34k from Jimray. And once again, Ult is already out. Good damage, Drag here. With nice damage and follow-ups, precise on single targets, but he needs to be teed up by the team. Everybody is low on the blue team side, but they still haven't fallen. That's the most important part. These fuckers just don't die. That's just the reality of it. There's just too much sustain here. I mean, it's not only Stitches. I've talked a bit about him and Devour, but then on the other side, you have Fight or Flight for Jimmy. You have his Behemoth armor that makes things worse, and if hooks like this come through more and more, then they're going to be in trouble, because Stukov is the best target that they can possibly hit there. If he falls, then the fight is essentially over. Porky gets attacked though. Porky! He survives, and Artanis gets a shield and tries to get away, but gets finally dropped by Stitches as another hook connects. They're getting Jimmy though, and that's of course a big issue for the blue team, because he's one of the main damage dealers. He is the main damage dealer, just period. Yes, Stitches and Imperius also have decent numbers, but A, they are not ranged, and B, that's still a problem. Top side also, talking about problems, that keep is already taking damage because they have left that camp and the catapult alone for way too long. So that leads to a keep taken down below 50% of its HP. Mortals are also getting attacked. Able to do a bit more over here. Hook again on point. Nice. Level 16 any second now. So level 16 in a moment for the blue team, and there it is. That's the talent advantage right there. Paint them red for Jimmy, and we got Pulverize. Those two alone are already big, and then you get Benediction from Uther, for example. It's another huge talent. And of course, more healing from Morales as well with the extended care. And Varian ping-ponged around and crushed. Survivability of Varian is really becoming a bit of a problem for them. They're having trouble keeping him alive. And the death timers are still fairly low. He's at 25 seconds now. But this is an issue, especially if there's follow-up kills. Nice slaps from Stukov. So Li Ming gets saved, but just imagine her falling and then staggered deaths. That would be a disaster. They have to leave Jimmy to his own devices on the Immortal for now, and he's taking full advantage of this. This might actually be the first objective that the blue team gets here. The big one at least. 16 is about to be ready. Mirror Ball for Li Ming is going to be huge. The hook! The hook on Artanis! Phoenix is out and Artanis still made it. It's actually kind of crazy how low the red team now all of a sudden, or the blue team all of a sudden is. They nearly lost Sven there. Imperius made it out, but Uther didn't. So that fight turned quickly, didn't it? And the Immortal hasn't even been won yet. To make matters worse, there's a camp pushing at the top, so this could destroy the top side keep. Uther is gone, so is the Ghost. They lose Imperius, and this keep is toast. This keep is toast. They're losing more. They're losing Stitches. That's 3 heroes down. That ragdoll kick. 3 heroes down, and they're going for core, aren't they? They're looking for core. Jimmy has taken the objective. He's taken the Immortal, but they're looking to end the game. Morales is destroyed too. The Cats, ladies and gentlemen. Not only did they turn several maps around, they're turning the series on his head. That's a win. They are sending the Krankle crew into the losers bracket, and the Cats move on to the next round of the winners bracket here in the playoff with a 3-2 victory. GG.